Hey, welcome back, gang. If this is your first time watching Johnny Up's Steel Guitar Licks, we talk all things pedal steel. If that's something you're into, please hit the like and subscribe, and then you can check us out at patreon.com/pedalsteel. Today, we are starting a journey to learn all the harmonized scales on the pedal steel guitar. So the 200 level on our blocking and scales collection will be all those harmonized scale lessons. Today is 201, the pedals down harmonized scale. Like I said, this is going to be the most common harmonized scale that gets used. Today we're going to have to spend a little bit more time talking about some basic theory, what is a harmonized scale, where it comes from, and then we'll carry that knowledge into the rest of our harmonized scales lessons so we don't have to keep repeating all that. So this one will be a little bit longer, and if you already know the pedals down harmonized scale, there still might be some good tips in here for you, so I still recommend you checking it out. So like I said, we're going to have to spend a little bit of time talking about some music theory. If you don't know any music theory, don't be scared. We're going to keep it pretty light, just enough for you to learn something and to help make learning this a bit easier.
For exclusive content, lesson requests, tab library and more, visit patreon.com/pedalsteel.
So let's check out this first line. Let's go ahead and play it. Pedals down at the 3rd fret on 3 and 5. Pedals up at 6. Pedals up at 8. Pedals down at 10. Pedals up at 13, pedals up at 15, and pedals down. So you'll notice that I've got 2 circles on the first half of the scale and the second half of the scale. So if we look at that, you'll notice it goes pedals down, pedals up, pedals down. And then if you look at the second half, it repeats pedals down, pedals up, pedals down. So one big cheat in memorizing our harmonized scales is that it repeats. Once I memorize this first half, I go up 2 frets and repeat it. And that pattern is going to repeat for almost all of our harmonized scales that go up the neck. So there's one big cheat for you already. Now below that, you'll notice that I've got some letters written. W, W, H, W, 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 H. That stands for whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. So you'll notice that that pattern repeats, right? Whole step, half step. Then we've got a whole step in between, right? That's where we went up the 2 frets. And then the pattern repeated. Whole step, half step. So what does that mean? A whole step is when we go up 1 note. So say from C to D. So if I keep my pedal down, right, C, C sharp, D. That's a whole step, 1 whole note change. So when I go from pedals down to pedals up, right, that's a whole step, right? Because we released the B pedal, we compensated by going up a fret. So from pedals down, 3 fret jump to pedals up is a whole step. Now, anytime we stay pedals up or stay pedals down and go up 2 frets, right, that's a whole step. Whenever we go from pedals up to pedals down, right, that's a half step. Right, we can hear just that half change. Right? And like we said, when we stay pedals down and go up 2 frets, that's a whole step. So we've got our first notes, whole step, half step. Right? Then we've got that whole step in the middle, right, where we go up 2 frets. There's the whole step move, and then it repeats. Whole step, half step. So that's how I want you to memorize this. Whole, half, go up and repeats. Down, up, down. Okay. Now, what is a harmonized scale? A harmonized scale is when we play the root, right? So in our pedals down position, we've got 2 root notes. When we're pedals down at the 3rd fret, right, we're playing a C chord. Right, we know that from our finger groups. Those are the notes we can play in our C chord. So our roots are on 3 and 6. Our thirds are on 5 and 10. So to play a harmonized scale, we have to play the root and the third. So like I have a root on 6 and a third on 5. Now 4 and 8, those are what we call perfect fifths. If I play just 6 and 4, right, that doesn't tell me whether it's major or minor. Right? If I add in my A pedal now, add in the 5th string, right, that's that third that's telling me it's a major chord. Right? If I half pedal my A, right, now it's a minor, C minor. So if I'm not playing the third, I can't tell if it's major or minor. That's why we don't play a root and a fifth on a harmonized scale. A harmonized scale has to have the third, because that's what dictates whether it's major or minor. All right. So that's why on the second half of the first line, we have the fifths crossed out, right? So my options for playing this harmonized scale leave us with our notes on 3 and 6 and 5 and 10. So if I look at the second line, I'm swapping out the 3rd string for the 6th string. So now I can play it on 6 and 5. Now same idea on the 3rd line, I can swap out the 5th string for the 10th string. Right? Those are the same note. So there's my 3rd on the 10th string and my root on 6. So just with this one scale, I can play it 3 different ways and get 3 really different sounds out of it. So like I said, this one is by far the most commonly used. Almost every steel solo I've ever taught has some aspect of this pedals down harmonized scale in it. Okay, so you might be thinking, what do each of these different positions mean? Like, why do we play it like that? So in each one of these, a chord is implied. Because we're not playing 3 notes, a chord is 3 notes. Because we're not playing a full chord, we're just implying what each chord is. But we are playing the chords of the scale, which are the 1, the minor 2, minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, diminished 7, and then the 1 repeats. So on the second half of the second line, you notice that we've got those full chords. And we're working our way down, but we've got the pedals down 1. The diminished 7 is kind of funky. We've got to play 3, 5, and then the 2nd string is lowered. And then we're on to our E flat lever minor chord style. All right, so there's the minor 6, pedals down at the 10th fret. All right, there's the 5, pedals down at 4. All right, there's the major 4. Then we go to the minor 3, back on that E flat lever, minor 2, and 1. So each one of these is a chord position. Right? So C, right? E, D minor, E minor, right? Pedals down F, pedals down G, right? A minor, and then we've got our B diminished, and back to the C. But here's the thing, when we're playing a harmonized scale, we don't always want to play the full chord because it can clash with the chord we're playing. Because most of the time, we're going to play a harmonized scale over just one chord, right? So say we're playing a 1-4-5 progression in the key of C, right? I don't want to play, right, a diminished 7 while I'm playing a C major. But when I'm playing that harmonized scale, it's totally fine for me to pass through it because I've left out that note that's going to clash. And I also don't have to worry about pressing all those levers, right? Because I'm only playing 3 and 5, even though I'm here in the implied minor 2 position. Because I'm not playing the 4th string, I don't have to worry about that lever. I just get to play pedals up. And even though I'm in this implied minor 2, minor 3 position, I'm really still just playing over a C chord, right? If you can imagine the C chord just hanging right there. Right, it's going to sound fine. So that's one big reason that we play a harmonized scale rather than the chords of the scale. All right, so now let's talk about how we want to pick these things. There is going to be a little bit of a difference between pick blocking and palm blocking, but there's two ways I recommend we pick it. One way is with thumb and middle. I like to keep my index finger anchored there on the fourth string. For one thing, it gives me something to pick against. Gives me a little bit of a tactile clue where my thumb and middle need to return to after I pick. And then it also just keeps that fourth string muted. If I'm just playing without ever blocking that fourth string, sometimes it can start to ring, and then it's going to sound kind of messy. So by keeping that, especially if you're pick blocking, keeping that finger down, keeps that fourth string blocked all the time. Another way we can pick it is with index and middle. And then we have our fifth string anchored there on the sixth string, again giving us a little bit of a tactile clue. And then after we pick, index and middle just return to those strings to block. And another really important aspect of how we practice this is I want you to hear the mute in between each one. So we pick, block, and then we move. If I start to rush it, you start to hear the pedaling and the sliding. And that's going to get really messy. So we want to be really precise with how we practice this. Pick, block, pick, block, pick, block, pedal. All right. And then if we're palm blocking with it, same idea. We're going to get that block first and then move. No matter how we're blocking, we just want to hear that mute. All right, so when we're playing on 6 and 5, we can pick it with index and middle. And then I like to have my thumb anchored there on 7, again, giving me a little bit of a tactile clue. And then, of course, we can use thumb and middle, or thumb and index, and we can leave middle there on 4. On 10 and 6, we're because of the large spread, we're kind of stuck with thumb and middle on this one. You can leave index anchored there on 8. Again, give you a little bit of a tactile clue where thumb and middle need to return to, and just help with keeping some of those middle strings muted. If I really leave my index finger in there, it's going to cover 8 and 7 to keep from ringing. So there's really no wrong way to pick it. There's just sloppy ways to do it, right? So again, really focus on precision. And then as you get better at it, then you can start adding some musicality to it. You know, you can pick and pedal. But save the vibrato and stuff for when you're playing. Right? When we're practicing no vibrato, we really want to work on our precision hitting the frets too. So even though we're learning a harmonized scale, we're still working on our bar hand with this. All right, so let's take a look at line 4 now. Now that we've got these little hacks on how to memorize it, we need to start testing ourselves on different positions of how we're going to play it. So this scale is movable, and most of our harmonized scales, or I think actually all of them, are going to be movable. We're going to be able to drop into any fret and run this scale. So on number 1, we're dropping into the 5th fret on 3 and 5. Right, and because we're pedals down at the 5th fret, right, that's a D scale. No matter where I drop in, even before I realize what key I'm playing in, go to the 7th fret. I should be able to run the pattern. Right, up 2 frets and repeat. Oh yeah, okay, that's E because I'm pedals down at the 7th fret. Oh, here's a weird one. 13th fret on 6 and 5. We're going descending. Okay, I'm pedals down at the 1st fret, right? That means I'm in B flat. All right, so that's what I want you to do with this. Just start dropping into a fret and run the pattern. And by the time you get back, see if you can figure out what key you're in. I'm in D flat. All right, and then pick different string groups too, right? I'm in A major, pedals down, open. Okay, so like I said, we're going to carry all that harmonized scale knowledge into our next major harmonized scale that gets used a lot, the E flat lever harmonized scale with 202. Let me know if there's anything that isn't making sense to you or anything you think we didn't cover, and I will see you at the next lesson, the E flat lever harmonized scale. See ya. Hey gang, this is Chicken, that's Winifred, I'm Johnny, and we all want to thank you for watching Johnny's Steel Guitar Licks. If you got anything from this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really enjoyed it, please help me spread the word and tell your friends. Thanks.